Mic's up.
Test. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, guys. My name is Zach, and I am the founder and creative director for Inspire, based here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. We're joining you guys live today from the Inspire Multimedia office at our office studio location. And today we're going to talk about how to, some tips and tricks for building your own brand and building your own company. This is part of our small business seminar series where we cover topics that help you build your own small business from the ground up. I'll take a sip of my Red Bull here. So we're doing this live stream today. It is based off of a lecture series that we host here at the Inspire office. And I am going off the top of my head, but we're basically reviewing one of our blogs that we have created. We have a series of blogs on our website, inspireclothing.art. Check it out. And we have a whole series of small business and business development blogs that can help you get your small business started and get your dream going. So today we're going to be reviewing some tips and tricks for how to build your brand. Basically, I've been in this field of work for the past 6 years. The first small business that I helped out with marketing as a marketing manager was a new age and gemstone and crystal shop located in Marion, Virginia, called The Eclectic Path. Shout out Shelly and Mike if they even remember me or know who I am. I remember y'all. I also have helped out with multiple smoke shops in the area, including Ice Smoke Shop, Smoking Geeks. I also used to work with Washington Digital Media in Washington, D.C. for a brief period of time. So I've been around. I've seen a lot of different things. I've worked with a lot of different types of businesses. And all the knowledge we're going to provide you today is really expert level knowledge that's for free, that will really empower you. And if you just follow the instructions, follow the blueprint, you will see success. I've seen it happen many times before. So without much further ado, we're just going to dive in. So this is our blog, the Small Business Seminar Series, How to Build Your Brand. And basically, we're going to keep scrolling down. The first thing that matters is lesson 1 on how to build your brand. I want you guys to think of some of the most iconic and recognizable companies. Like, what is your favorite company? You know, I like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's cool. I like Red Bull. We were just talking about Red Bull. Did you know Red Bull has a music academy? Did you know they do all this crazy sports and extreme stuff? But they're an energy drink company. What's going on with Red Bull? Well, that's all part of their branding and their marketing. So what is branding? What is marketing? It's basically the image and vibe that your company puts out there in the consumer's mind. It's how you first are perceived, and it's basically like the vibe of your whole company. So you really, when you're creating your business for the first time, or if you're growing your business to the next level, you really need to take in mind and take to heart branding and what specifically, how does your logo look? What kind of imagery do you guys use? What kind of language do you use? What kind of space are y'all performing in? All of these things matter. So we're looking at the Gecko here. He's a great example. Geico stands for Government Employee Insurance Company. I don't know if a lot of y'all know that. Insurance is a very boring corporate venture that, you know, most insurance companies don't stick out. But if in the past 10 to 20 years, we've noticed that a lot of insurance companies are using more creative marketing campaigns to really stand out and distinguish and differentiate themselves from the competitor. So for instance, we all know Geico uses the Gecko, which I think is pretty cool. But then there's also Flo from Progressive. She's a character that's, you know, stands out in many people's minds. So these are all examples of how you can take, who?
Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm. Who the fuck is Jake from State Farm? But these are all examples of basically how companies try to create kind of like a story or an image or a scene with their presentation. And that can really mean the difference in connecting with customers and getting them to engage with your business. So we'll scroll down a little bit. Brand identity. So check it out, guys. And pardon me, I am doing this for the very first time. This is a live stream, so I may not be 100% eloquent. So brand identity. Some of the main questions you need to consider when working on your brand's identity really goes down to what kind of space are you guys working in? Who is your target demographic? What are your company values and ethics? Those really play a big important part in relating with customers. Also, what is your message? You could be, for instance, let's look at companies like, Ciroc or something. What's Conor McGregor's whiskey brand? He's got one. The 12 or something. Oh, yeah. It's like a green bottle. Look, all these people, like, when you have a basic, so let's say you have like a basic product that you sell. I sell a drink. Wow. I mean, the drink is dope. It sells itself for the most part, but if you're really trying to be the drink, the one that everyone talks about, the one that everyone thinks about, you have to create this, like, you have to create a story. You have to put yourself out there with some sort of drama, right? How do you create drama? Well, you can have mascots, you can have logos, you can have certain imagery or vibes. These are all important aspects that you need to keep in mind with creating brand identity. It's all about brand identity. This is the term that you need to keep in the back of your mind when you're creating your small business. Who are we, and who do people identify with us? So for instance, Inspire. When I created Inspire, it was very important to me to pay homage and legacy to my Native American roots and ancestry. So a lot of what Inspire dabbles in and talks about, even though we're a streetwear company, we're a cannabis influencer company, all that, we still talk a lot about nature. We talk a lot about our local history, and we talk about our local environment, because these things are all near and dear to who we are as a people, especially our team. So, let's say you're creating a bakery or something like that, and you have like a very unique twist on the bakery concept. Maybe you're like a vegan baker, okay? You want to create a brand identity that allows you to stand out and that communicates those values as a vegan to to the audience at large, because you're not trying to be like Krispy Kreme, with your glazed donuts and stuff per se. You might be trying to attract someone more like in the Trader Joe's kind of side of things. So this is all about target demographic and target audience. So these are things you need to keep in mind when cultivating your brand identity. In fact, when Inspire works with, in the past, even when I was at Washington Digital Media, a lot of times when we sit down with clients to help them figure out where they want to move forward with their brand, we use client intake surveys. We use little forms that they can fill out and that have a lot of these kind of questions where we can really like fine tune and hone in on where as a company you want to be positioned in the market. That's another thing to keep in mind. A lot of people are trying to like be the be all end all and do everything and anything just to get a dollar and be out there. Like, you will really get success as a company if you just stay in your lane and focus on who you are. That's why we as Inspire, we don't really, we just kind of focus on creating the content we like to create. We could be out here doing different types of business to business or client to client kind of projects for local community, but that's not our role. You know what I'm saying? There's other people out here that can do stuff like that, and that's just kind of really knowing who you are as a company and as a business owner, and knowing what your mission is and what you're really trying to provide. So we'll scroll down a little bit to logo and brand design. So going back to those like client intake surveys or those forms that we fill out when we're trying to figure out how we're going to build a person's brand out, a big aspect of that comes down to your logo and your colorways and stuff like that. So there's a few sample questions here that are really great for kind of fine-tuning and figuring out what you want to do with the logo. But obviously the name of the company is a big one. The industry that you're in, symbols and icons that you envision or which are associated with your industry, colors and patterns. I've said like vibe a million times, but we're gonna say feel in this case. Corporate and serious, stuff like that. What is the primary emotional connection you want the company logo to create with the target audience? That's also another important aspect as well. So these are all the questions that we'll usually go through, and we'll try to get clear answers on, because then we'll be able to create a really awesome logo once we have all that information. One of the things that I always, like I mentioned Coca-Cola earlier. I have like a really deep attachment to Coca-Cola. I don't even really drink the soda that much, but when I do drink soda, I'm going to choose Coca-Cola over Pepsi. And the real reason to that has nothing to do with the taste of the product or anything like that. It has to do with just the the brand identity and the symbolism that Coca-Cola uses, like the polar bears. When I was a newborn infant, I got like a little polar bear, Coca-Cola polar bear, and I just love that thing. And so like those are the kind of things that help me make a consumer decision. And even though it's like subtle as that, those things really make an impact in growing your company and putting your brand out there. So we'll scroll down just a little bit to 60-30-10 rule. So when you're creating a logo, this is where we kind of get into graphic design. To build a business, you don't have to be a master of graphic design or web design and stuff like that, but there's some good principles that you should understand so that you can communicate with your graphic designer or whoever you're outsourcing that task to. You can help get what you want at the end of the day. The 60-30-10 rule, it's a common rule. You'll find it in multiple aspects of design. But the basic idea of it is that you're going to choose 3 primary colors for your design. The first color you choose is going to typically dominate 60% of the design, while your secondary color you choose will be 30%, and then the third color acts as an accent. In that little example there, you'll see that there's a white, what looks like a navy or royal blue, and then a teal. So let's say if we're designing the logo, then what we'd probably see here is that the lettering for the name will probably consist mostly of the white. We'd see probably the outline of the lettering using the secondary color. And then the accent color would probably be like a splash, used for the icon or something like that. 60-30-10 rule is important. Keep that in the back of your mind. You also need to understand like differences of like hue, saturation. You need to understand what we call visual weight. So the idea that like how you space things out within the design or the clutter of the design. Red Bull is pretty cool. A lot of people, we all recognize the blue and the silver. I think a lot of people forget, even though it's called Red Bull, that there's actually this like rising sun motif with 2 bulls charging at each other. A lot of people, if I were to do like a logo test or survey, a lot of people might miss that one. But if I did just the blue and the silver, that would definitely stick out. So this is an example of the color palettes in 60-30-10. But also when we're looking at visual weight and stuff like that, they make what Red Bull could theoretically do to make this stand out more in the consumer eye would be to increase the size of the logo so that it holds more weight on the total design surface. So in the blog, you'll see an example. I got like 1 red heart and then I got a bunch of smaller hearts. Depending on how you're trying to impact what you're trying to say, you might want to use 1 big heart to convey a certain sense of maybe like commitment or love or something like that for between 1 or 2 people. But if you're trying to do like a more general purpose approach to love or like love for the community, you might use this idea of multiple hearts kind of thing. And this all goes into what we call visual weight. Visual weight, another good way to describe it that I wrote in the blog is that it's the hierarchy of attention. So when you first look at a blog a design or a logo and you see it for the first time, like I said, what is the first elements you notice? So with like the Red Bull can, we notice the colors first, then we notice the name, then we notice the iconography, the symbolism. So these are all things to keep in mind. Another important aspect of design is font and typography. So I don't know if a lot of y'all know the difference between serif and sans serif fonts, but basically serif-based fonts, those are going to be the ones that have the neat little decorative elements at the edge of the letters, whether that's like a little stroke or a ball or an inset. Sans serif is going to be fonts that lack those design elements and which are easy to read and straightforward. Serif is obviously for more decorative and elegant kind of works, and sans serif is meant to make things easy to read and legible. So having an idea of that too, if you want to do a really elegant and fancy brand, you're probably going to do something with a serif-based font and probably italicized as well. But if you're trying to do something that's easy to read and simple, you're probably going to use a sans serif font because you don't want people to get confused by the cursive lettering or anything like that. The next thing we're going to look at is Fiverr. I'm about to hurt some feelings here. A lot of times when you're a small business owner and you're getting started with your logo, with your website, with all these assets that you need to build out for your brand, you're going to probably go on Facebook or something and be like, I need a logo designer. And all your friends are going to hit you up with all their art skills and stuff like that. Now, I am a total proponent and believer in supporting the community and paying local talent to do projects. But when you're creating a logo, you really got to get it right. And you don't want to waste time creating a half-assed logo or using someone who doesn't necessarily have the skill level to bring your vision to life. And this can be difficult at some times. That's why I like to rely on Fiverr. Also, a lot of artists are going to want to charge you like $100 to $200 to $300 for a logo. And I can go on Fiverr and spend $25 and get someone in Pakistan or India or Bangladesh who has been doing logos for years, probably longer than the artist friend in town, and he can quickly and get it done for me in like 3 days for $25. So I recommend using Fiverr and these online marketplaces to get the initial assets for your website or your brand built out, because sometimes if you're using local companies or local talent, it's going to be too cost prohibitive for a first-time business owner or an entrepreneur who may be working with a small budget. This is just the reality of things. It would be nice if we could work with a lot of people in the community and spend money with them, but everyone's got bills to pay, and sometimes it's easier to pay someone on the internet versus someone local. So Fiverr is a great resource. In fact, the Inspire logo was built with Fiverr, and even some of our early designs. So this is the thing too. I went on Fiverr and I found the person to make my design, but not only did I use them to make the design, I used them to I maintained a relationship with the same person and eventually got their their contact info. So I was able to not even have to go on Fiverr anymore. I had this one person that I rely on for certain types of designs, and they're really cool. Shout out Mariam in Canada. So, but they also design some of our hoodies and stuff as well. So that's the cool thing about Fiverr. You can establish business relationships with people in far places, but still get what you want. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an anonymous transaction. You can actually build out a relationship that can allow you to grow your businesses, which is really cool. Business cards. Yeah, business cards. That's my favorite part. Y'all ever seen that movie American Psycho with Christian Bale and the scene where they're all pulling out the business cards and stuff and acting all weird over it and getting all like hard-ons and stuff over like, oh, the type, they're acting all weird. But that's actually, I've seen that a lot. Business cards are super important. A business card is the first impression 9 times out of 10 for a customer of your business. So you really got to spend the time and energy to really design your business cards well, and don't half-ass it, because it'll only shoot you in the foot. Business cards, they provide all the key information for your business, such as a contact phone number, your website, who you are, the name of the company. But you can also put more information on the business card and make them serve as a tool that almost kind of fits into your marketing funnel and can help you pull clients on a regular. And how do you do that? Well, probably the best way to do that is going to be through the use of a QR code. If you put a QR code on your business card, you can probably have it linked to your services and packages page. So you could, for instance, let's say you meet someone at a networking luncheon or something downtown, and then you got a really productive conversation from that, and you want to move forward. You give them your business card. You got the QR code on it. Now that person can scan the QR code and know immediately how much you charge for services and packages. And then you can, there's no time wasted in I can only do this project at this amount. And that they know what to save up for. And then when they contact you, they're ready to make moves rolling. I can tell you that the sign of a real business person is a person that's able to close deals and be efficient in their time and not waste time having pointless meetings where, oh, this sounds good, I'll do it in a few weeks, whoop, 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 this, that, and the third. Like, if you're calling me up with a project, the first question on my mouth is going to be like, how much is it? And I'm going to tell you straight up and then, I can afford it this week, or you need to hit me up in a month or so, because I can't afford it right now. Time is money. So one of the important other aspects of business cards, it's also a sign of professionalism. If you're trying to build a business and you want me to spend a significant amount of money with your business, if you don't even have a business card, to me that's a big red flag. Now there's a difference between not having a business card and I ran out of business cards, I don't have any on me on the moment. That's different. That's common. Once you get business card in the business card game, that's going to happen a lot. But if you tell me you've never made a business card yet, that tells me you're not on that next step yet towards getting your business into a legitimate viable brand to make you a full living income. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to invest in yourself and grow your business, and business cards are that first step. It's very inexpensive, and it's a sign of professionalism in the entrepreneurial and workplace environment. Business cards are also what we call direct marketing. So it's direct marketing is basically anytime you're like able to market your company or brand directly to the consumer. So when I hand you a business card, I'm throwing my business in your face, literally. You know what I'm saying? So this is and when you do these kind of moments are gonna make you stick out in the consumer mind more so than like something more passive like an Instagram ad that I scroll through and I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna always remember the people that handed me a business card and talked to me in an in-person conversation versus the crap I see on Instagram or on Facebook while scrolling, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's just how it works. So Vistaprint is a great resource. Once again, if you need to make business cards, I use Vistaprint usually. There are also local companies that can do, but Vistaprint, like I said, they got the whole market unlocked. So if you need business cards, just go on Vistaprint. You can also use like Staples and Office Depot. Now, I like to use Office Depot and Staples for printing flyers and posters because they have same-day printing and they got some decent pricing typically on that. But Vistaprint is usually who I'd rely on for when I'm ordering bulk business cards, or if you're getting anything bulk that's printed kind of information. If we keep scrolling down, this is kind of reviewing some of the stuff I was saying a minute ago. So this is an example of what should be on the front of your business card, what should be on the back. You got your logo, your tagline, your company name, and then on the back you got like your information and stuff. And going back to those graphic design elements of visual weight and hierarchy of attention and stuff like that, the front of the card, just put the logo. You have a few things here, it's not so cluttered. Then on the back, have a little bit more of the information because, first you want to see, okay, this is who it is, and then this is how I go further, Professional packaging for products and promotional materials. All right. So I wish Dante was here because he would really be a great example of this. Let's say you're creating something for the first time. Let's say you're making, going back to the drink example, you make your own lemonade. We have a few people out here that are doing like the lemonade hustle. If you're just putting your drink in like plastic bottles with no labels and nothing on it, it's probably not going to do as well versus if you had invested a little bit of time and energy and money into purchasing labels and having nutrition facts and stuff like that. It's going to make your product look more legitimate. Taking the time to spend money on professional packaging products like labels, flyers, brochures, even stickers can really make the difference in growing your brand and putting it out there in the marketplace, whether it's a local, just like in your hometown, or if you're trying to lock on a regional market. It also increases the legitimacy and authority of your brand. These are all important points. So jars, labels, any of those kind of things. Even like, we in the cannabis game, for instance, right now the most popular thing, the thing that is a trend is branded products. Why? Because it increases the legitimacy and authority of these products within the underground market. This is a great example, actually. So a lot of times a lot of cannabis products are homemade, whether people want to accept that fact or not. A lot of the stuff in the cannabis industry is made in, in people's facilities and stuff like that. They're not made in dispensaries where they get inspected and all that stuff. That's not how it works. But you see all these branded products because you have these groups and these collectives taking the time to invent a brand, like whether that's cookies, runts, whether that's Alien Labs, whatever these different things are. There's a whole bunch of them out there. And then they're taking the time to invest in the jars and the labeling. And now when you're a consumer, you're more likely to buy weed in a jar that has a label versus weed in a Ziploc bag, even though it's the same weed potentially, literally. You know what I'm saying? So this is a great example. And it doesn't just apply to weed. It applies to anything you make at home, whether it's food or drinks. It could be anything like that. So take the time to invest in buying professional packaging or professional promotion materials for your products and stuff like that. So this is just some of the basic information we cover in our How to Build Your Brand blog. Like I said, this is just the first part of a multi-part series. And each video, we just try to cover a few basic topics. And And like I said, all this information I covered today is available on the inspireclothing.art website on our business development blog. It's titled Small Business Seminar Series, How to Build Your Brand. It's a great blog. It's been up for almost like 2 months now, or maybe like a month and a half. I published it like a month and a half ago, maybe a month ago. But and we have other blogs on there as well. We have blogs talking about marketing funnels, web design. I'm very passionate about taking the knowledge I've learned over the past few years and sharing it with the community so that people can chase their dreams and escape that cycle of working for a 9-to-5 they hate, and at least have the chance to make a real income doing what they actually love doing. So, but guys, thank you for tuning in today. My name is Zach. I'm with Inspire Clothing, and once again, this was part of our small business seminar, and I hope everyone has a nice day. Thank you.